Yo, hey, good morning, everybody. 6881 behind me. Yeah, that is not a new style of camouflage that I came up with on my own. That is the topography of the repairs. And what do I mean by that? Well, we got peaks, and valleys. So we got our first 3 coats of primer on, and then I did a pre-fill, and I got to go back down this bad boy, rip her all back down with 36 grit. But that's not really why I turned the camera on this morning. I get a lot of people asking me, how I build things. Get some of this fiberglass dust off my nose. Yeah, it was a balmy 17 degrees this morning. Thank God, the sun is shining. It's warming the building up. I think we're 34 degrees in here now, but it's definitely a cold start to the day. So I've been going through the process of rebuilding all these hatches for this boat. And one of the things that I noticed about some of the other boats is the hatches seem to be, kind of weak. And I wanted to take a quick opportunity because I think I can answer a handful of people's questions, in one fell swoop here with my construction technique. You see these lines here, okay? And that's not for aesthetics. We're not playing tic-tac-toe on that. What we do, and why I love foam core construction so very much, we have a couple of different hatches here in different stages, so I can show you guys how we build these things. So what did I do here? Well, first I had to strip off all of the old, hog out all of the old core material and render it down to one flat sheet of fiberglass. So when this started, it was just one piece, okay? Then we laminated 2 pieces of the foam together with microfibers, 404 West Systems epoxy on the inside. And then what you can see here, you see this little relief cut. And what I'm doing here is prepping to trough my pour. You see the design I have marked out. And then I lay up a piece of 1708. This is when I talk about 1708. So you got a 17 on top with an 08 chop strand on bottom. I found the stuff to be pretty phenomenal, and the combination of that and my 24 ounce makes a really, really strong, lightweight product. So we build a little barrier here, a dam, so to speak, and I start with just a relief cut. I pour in 404 microfibers so it stops the flow, and I'll come back through now with my finger saw and I'll cut these troughs all the way down to the original layer of fiberglass. So you end up with an inch tall gusset throughout this whole substructure, keeping it lightweight, keeping it really strong, a little bit of flexibility for under load, but rigidity is the whole point. And the other thing that I do when I build these panels that makes them a little stronger than what they normally would be is I found a piece of the concrete that has a bit of a dish to it. And with this first piece of fiberglass here laying up on that angle like that, that's actually gonna keep the panel kind of round to start with. And then I'll pour my trough, again, keeping it, just slightly round. And then as that is curing, I'll flip the panel so it'll retain that pre-sprung structure inside of it. But when I flip it and lay the last layer on it, as that's drying, I'll weight it back down to be flat. So it keeps that spring structure inside it, so it's constantly wanting to push up, but then we make it flat. Just a little scotch of camber on it so we get runoff. We don't want water to build up, right? So what we again have here is we have a sprung substructure, and then we have a pre-layer of 1708 that's sprung as well. And then we lay the final layer of 24 ounce glass, bring it back down to flat so that it again has a sprung structure inside the panel, making it even stronger than it would be. And then I flipped the layer of 1708 to add the non-skid effect. You can see in here how grippy, how much structure there is to this non-skid. shouldn't even need sand in it. We'll probably put some sand in it just because, but there's a ton of meat in this non-skid. These are sweet panels. And we're on our last, I have 2 layers of fairing compound in it. And what you're seeing there again is the topography. As I come down it with a flat board, you see the highs and the lows. We got one more fill to get in here, and it'll all start looking like this. Real nice and flat, so it's ready for paint. And the last thing I'll do once I get it all flat is I'll take a piece of tape down this edge here, and that'll give me a straight edge for me to use my belt sander and grind up to, so they're nice, perfectly straight. Put a little radius on these bottom corners here so there's no sharp edges. Probably will knock these edges down just a little bit, put a pencil roll on it again just to keep the sharp edges down, ready for paint. So, you know, the hatches are very time consuming because there's so many different contours and there's a lot of thought that goes into making them, you know, as strong as I can, as lightweight as possible. But now that they're done, you know, they should never have to be, unless they're abused, and I don't think they will be, but they should last certainly the rest of my lifetime. But the real bane of my project has been this transom. And I can build all kinds of stuff, but let me tell you what happened here. Somebody packed all these numbers full of Bondo. So I had to take my little grinder and dig all the Bondo. Let me give you a close-up here. Dig all of this back out, which is a real pain in the butt. I can't say that anymore. But then at some point, somebody had taken a grinder here and just hogged a tremendous amount of meat out so that this wasn't straight anymore. It was just a huge dish and there was barely any number left here. I had to actually lay in, you can see the matting here, I had to lay in 3 pieces of 24-ounce mat to build it back up, and now I've pre-filled it with my 404 structural adhesive microfibers again. I can come back through now. It's got to cure a little bit. It's cold here, so if you dig into these things prematurely, man, it doesn't work well to your benefit at all. It just plugs up sandpaper and makes a real nightmare. But by next week, that'll be hard enough for me to come back through now and belt sand it flat, and then I have to put that green fairing compound on. It's one of my favorite products, this green product here. This is a Total Boat product. It's a 50-50 epoxy fairing compound. 1 part's blue, 1 part's yellow. You just mix it up until it's pretty green. Oh, by the way, the boat's supposed to be green anyway, so that's going to work out to our favor. Don't be surprised if you see me stretching Bondo over the whole sides of this boat. She's really rough. She's going to take a lot of work to get her flat, but you know, it's now April 2nd. We got a couple months left to get this bad boy floating and a whole lot of work left to do. So say a little prayer, folks. All right, till next time. See ya.